everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In this week's video, I'm going to do something a little bit different, and I want to talk about filters for landscape photography. Now, depending on who you talk to, some people say that you don't need filters anymore because you can replicate those effects in post, while some people are going to live and die by their filter system, say that it's an essential piece of kit for landscape photographers. I'm kind of in the middle on those two. Some I feel that I can replicate in post, and there's still some that I feel that I personally cannot replicate in post in Lightroom or Photoshop. So the first system I'm going to talk about is going to be the circular system. So the circular system is just as it sounds, it's circular. So these each have a filter thread that's a specific size. So it's going to be for a specific size lens filter thread. So the one drawback of that is if you have lenses that are multiple filter thread sizes, you either need multiple filters or you need a step-up ring. So like this step-up ring is from a 77 millimeters to an 82. So if you have multiple thread sizes, like with me, I just have one set of filters now, and I have an 82 millimeter, and then I just do my step-up rings to my smaller size lenses. That way I only have to carry one set of filters out into the field. So they're really nice. There's a couple of different types. So you have your basic screw-on, and then you also have a magnetic system. So with the magnetic system, there we go. You have this little magnet piece that screws on to the front element of your lens, and then the filters are really nice because you can just take them once it's screwed on, and they just magnetize straight on, and then it's super easy to get them off. And then they've also got this nice little lens cover. So there's that type if you don't want to have the traditional screw-on type of circular filters. Now there's a couple different types of filters that you can find as circular filters. So the most common one that you can find is going to be your circular polarizer. This is going to polarize your scene, so act a lot like sunglasses. So with this filter, you cannot replicate in post because of the effects that it has. So by it polarizing the scene, it reduces the glare in damp situations and environments. So like if you're shooting waterfalls and it's inside a canyon, or there's wet rocks, or there's some wet foliage around, this greatly reduces the glare. As well as if you're in a kind of a drier environment, it also helps saturate the foliage around you. So if there's like deep reds, deep greens, deep blues, it'll help saturate that. Additionally, it reduces the glare in the water. So if you're out shooting like seascapes or waterfalls or lakes, so anything of that nature, and it's daytime, this will reduce the glare so you don't have that reflection off the water, and you can actually see through that top layer of film on the water. If there's some nice intricate rocks underneath the water, this helps reduce that so you can see through the water. Additionally, if you're shooting and it's a bluebird day, spin this around and you can increase the saturation of the blue in the sky. You may need to do some stitching in post to do that because depending on how large your sky is in your photo. And then as well as the circular polarizer, there's also a couple different types of ND filters. So these are just going to be your solid state NDs. They're not graduated or anything. So this one is a 6-stop and this one is a 3-stop. Yeah, 3-stop and 6-stop. So these are really nice if you're wanting to elongate or increase your exposure. So if you're wanting to have a lot of movement in your frame, so like if you wanted to get those silky water from a waterfall, or get a lot of movement in a seascape, or even have a lot of movement of cloud streaks in the sky if the clouds are moving really fast. So these are really nice for that. Additionally, is if you want to not have a shutter speed quite as fast or need a higher aperture. So this one you can stop down your aperture if you don't want to have a higher aperture. If you're shooting at high aperture like f/18, f/22, which is going to show a lot of the defects on your lenses, like dirt or anything on your front element, like something like that. Now, one thing that you can find for the circular system as well is the variable neutral density filter. So this one is more used for when shooting video, like vlogging or doing cinematic things. So with this one, you can stop down and only have to carry one filter and being able to replicate multiple different variable stops. So instead of having to carry two neutral densities, you can just carry one. Now, there is some artifacting with using something like this. Depending on the quality of it, it will create a nasty X through the scene. So just be wary of that. Then the other system to the circular system is going to be your square or rectangular system. So with this, it's more universal because all you need is a step-up ring and for your specific filter thread size on your lenses, and you can slide your mount directly on. So this one I've got an 82. So this just slides right on in here after you've attached it to your lens, and then you can slide your filter straight on into these slots here. So like just like so. And the nice thing with these is that you can stack up to, like for this one, I can stack up to 3 different filters on it. So if you want to layer in and stack up your neutral densities, and maybe you want to do a graduated neutral density filter, you can. Just be careful, you are going to get some color casting in that, a little bit more drastic than what you would see for just a regular single filter. So for your square system, it's depending on the system that you have, you can incorporate a circular polarizer in it, but they don't make square polarizers because you need to rotate it. So what I've done in the past is I've put my polarizer on my lens first, put my step-up ring onto the polarizer, and then attach my neutral densities. It's not quite as accurate as you would hope it would be, but it does work in a pinch if you need to polarize and have a neutral density as well. So your square filters, which are your 100 millimeter by 100 millimeter, are going to be your neutral density. So just nice solid black, which is going to be equivalent to these guys. So these are really great because this system works really well with like your ultra wide lenses. So your 14 to 24, your 12 to 24, your 10 to 18, or if you have a very large filter thread for like a telephoto lens. I know I have a telephoto lens that's 95 millimeters. I don't want to be carrying a massive circular system for it where I can just use one system and just have multiple different thread sizes. The only drawback to this system is that it is very bulky. So normally when I'm doing a system, my square system, this big bag with all of my graduated neutral density filters and my neutral density filters, as well as all of my step-up rings and my mounting system. It gets a little cumbersome and it's fairly bulky. So they're graduated neutral density filters. There's a lot of things that you can do with these, and they are really nice in the right situations and right environments. So by graduated neutral density, what it means is that you have the top frame is going to be your neutral density, which is going to increase your shutter speed, and it's going to gradually transition into just a straight UV film. So these are really good if you need to equalize the exposure out in a scene. So if you have a very vibrant sunset or sunrise and you want to offset that with your foreground or anything like that. So if you need your foreground to be super fast, like it's wildflowers or something like that, this is really nice. With your gradual neutral density filters, they come in 3 different transitions. So there's the soft, there's a medium, and then there's a hard. These are the mediums. And what that constitutes as is just how fast this transitions from neutral density to UV. So your soft, it's going to be a very light graduation. The medium here in the middle, you can see it's a little fuzzy. And then your hard graduated neutral densities is just, it's going to be a very hard, distinct line here in the middle between. So each one is going to have its own purpose and its own place in your photographer's toolkit. The nice thing with these is if you have a very even horizon line in your composition, these are fantastic. You just slide it in, you can angle it up for your horizon line, match it, and just, start taking some photos. But these really don't work if you have an uneven horizon. So if you're shooting a mountainous region, or you're shooting seascapes and there's sea stacks, or there's buildings, or there's just something causing it to break the horizon line. So with these ones is that they're going to give this effect just straight across that image. So there's no way to change that in the field. So I no longer shoot with graduated neutral density filters. I end up exposure bracketing in post. So the filter system that I've most recently gone towards is this case magnetic system. So it's really nice because I've gone from taking this big box out to just this itty bitty little case, and it's got all my filters for my different lens sizes, and all I've got is these step up rings, and these step up rings make it to where I only need one set of filters, but it covers all the bases that I need. And you can stack up to I believe 3 filters. I haven't gotten to that point just yet, but you select your polarizer, your neutral density. If you want a 3-stop and a 6-stop, maybe even a 10-stop, you can absolutely do that. So that's what I've gone to nowadays. So as you can see, my progression has changed just a little bit. I've gone from the square and rectangular filters to circular polarizer filters to the new magnetic filters. And that's just as I progressed with how I shoot. And I'd love to hear about your thoughts and opinions on filters and if they still hold a place in the photographer's toolkit nowadays for landscape photography. So feel free to go down and comment on your thoughts, as well as if you do use filters and what systems you use, whether it's the square system or the circular system or magnetic system or any of the other systems out there, because there are a couple of different special use case systems out there, like the drop-ins and the rear lens element filters. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.